Benji writes this from Texas. Absolutely. My fantasy election would be Ron Paul against Dennis Kucinich. In my humble opinion, they're the only candidates who are speaking truth to power. It's a pity we don't have more people willing to stick their necks out like these guys do. Time to wake up, America. John writes from West Virginia, yes, more people should listen. A rarity. A man of principle, integrity, and high values running for president. Exactly what America needs in this day and age. Dick writes from Florida, I must admit I haven't been listening to Ron Paul at all, but after hearing your take, I'll definitely start paying attention. He certainly has a new direction. Wish in Erie, Pennsylvania. As a registered Democrat all my life, I not only plan to vote for Ron Paul, I sing his praises every chance I get. However, inasmuch as the major media have already anointed Hillary and Giuliani, the poor man hasn't a chance. Mike in Cranberry Lake, New York. Yes, more people should listen to Ron Paul. Agree or disagree with his propositions. He's a refreshing change from the other candidates and is unafraid of speaking the unvarnished, unspun, unapologetic truth. One reason his internet following so large is that it's comprised of people who have taken the time to visit his website and read his opinions on the issues. And finally, Steve writes from Pennsylvania, remember the line from the classic Simon and Garfunkel song, The Sound of Silence, the line that says the words of the prophets are written on the subway walls and tenement halls. When I hear Ron Paul, sometimes I wonder whether I'm not listening to a latter-day prophet with the way he speaks truth about what our nation has come to. Yes, Jack, a lot more people ought to be listening seriously to Ron Paul.
Republican presidential candidate Ron Paul raised big bucks and some major eyebrows with a very successful one-day internet fundraising drive. Amazing, amazing numbers. The impressive numbers, in fact, attracting new attention to a candidate many had simply assumed was an extreme long shot. Carol Costello's here in the Situation Room. She's been following this story all day. The big question a lot of people are asking, can he translate these millions of dollars into votes?
And that would be the $4.38 million question, Wolf. I mean, Ron Paul wows them online, but can he wow them any better offline than Howard Dean did? I talked to the candidate himself, and he told me he can.
I'm Ron Paul, and I'm running for president.
Meet Ron Paul, winner of the biggest money bomb of this year's Republican presidential campaign. That's what his supporters call it, his money bomb. It means his supporters dropped $4,380,000 in 24 hours. That's $182,500 per hour, $3,042 per second.
Well, thank you for the support. We've always known the message was very powerful, but we didn't know how many people would support it.
But his supporters call Ron Paul an internet sensation, much like Howard Dean was in 2000. Only better. Paul essentially stays out of the way and lets his online supporters figure out how to raise money. Their Netroots campaign is sometimes wholesome and sometimes decidedly not.
And if I'm so dumb, then how do you explain this?
She and hundreds of thousands of others are hip to Paul because he's anti-war, fiscally conservative, and they say principled and honest. They know that despite a decided lack of traditional media coverage. Ron Paul did participate in all of the Republican debates, but after they ended, TV anchors ignore him. According to the tracking company VMS, Ron Paul's name was mentioned just 4,695 times on TV news and cable shows from August of 2006 to August of 2007. What a comparison? John McCain was mentioned 95,005 times. It's not something that's lost on Paul.
I think maybe it might be, a little lazy work on their part, and it's hard for them to believe that somebody that takes my positions would have such a popular following.
But after Paul's money bomb, things may change. While Paul lags behind candidates like McCain in mentions and poll position, he has more money in the bank than Senator McCain.
I think that people are starting to pay attention. So the big step is, can Ron Paul make the jump from his early adopters to the mainstream?
And Paul is already trying to slip into the mainstream.
But he's honest, and you always know where he stands.
He's running traditional TV ads in New Hampshire and will campaign the old-fashioned way in Iowa. And he'll be singing the same tune wherever he goes.
So who are his supporters? Well, they're Republicans, they're Democrats, they're young people, they're independents, they're older people, anybody who craves change and who is disenchanted with the candidates now in the lead.
And a lot of libertarians in the process as well. We're going to try to get him here in the Situation Room later this week, and we'll talk to him. Thanks very much, Carol, for that.
I got up at 4 in the morning to get tickets. I got home around 10, I guess. And then I got here at 12, and I've been waiting since then. What time is it, guys?
I've lived here my whole life, never been in the Tonight Show, never was interested. This guy is worth it, worth standing in line. True American hero, Ron Paul. God bless him.
Getting sleep at all to see Ron Paul.
Massachusetts, well, the Ron Paul supporters, they're not letting weather or pretty much anything else get in their way. What are they up to?
Well, they're determined, TJ. They have declared this day as what they call money bomb days, where they really try to galvanize and raise money on the internet. They're hoping to break some records, but they chose today because it's the anniversary of the Boston Tea Party, and there are several events going on around the country, but of course some grassroots supporters plan to rally here this afternoon in Boston. There was also a party last night in New York. Ron Paul supporters also sending out a blimp to kind of gain some momentum for his campaign. TJ?
All right, Ron Paul and his supporters, they find a way to get it.
So we have tried to fashion a format in which they will talk more to one another. So let me start with a general question. If you are the nominee, will you run on the Bush foreign policy record, or will you run away from it? Congressman Paul, let me ask you, do you agree with the Bush doctrine, or would you change it?
Well, I certainly agreed with his foreign policy that he ran on and that we as Republicans won in the year 2000. You know, the humble foreign policy, no nation building, don't be the policeman of the world. And we were strongly critical of the policy of the Clinton administration that did the opposite. And we fell short. Of course, the excuse is that 9/11 changed everything. But the Bush doctrine of preemptive war is not a minor change. This is huge. This is the first time we as a nation accept as our policy that we start the wars. I don't understand this. And that all options are on the table to go after Iran. This is not necessary. These are third world nations. They're not capable. But I think it's the misunderstanding or the disagreements that we've had in this debate along the campaign trail is the nature of the threat. I'm as concerned about the nature of the threat of terrorism as anybody, if not more so. But they don't attack us because we're free and prosperous. And there are radicals in all elements, in all religions, that will resort to violence. But if we don't understand that the reaction is because we invade their countries, and occupy their countries, we have bases in their country, and we haven't done it just since 9/11, but we have done that a long time. I mean, it was the Air Force base in Saudi Arabia before 9/11 that was given as the excuse. If we don't understand that, we can't win this war against terrorism.
Charlie?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just make one point. Ron's analysis is really seriously flawed. The idea that the attack took place because of American foreign policy is precisely the reason I handed back a $10 million check to a Saudi prince who gave me that money at ground zero for the Twin Towers Fund, and then put out a press release saying America should change its foreign policy. It seems to me, if you don't face this squarely, there's an Islamic terrorist threat against us. It's an existential threat. It has nothing to do with our foreign policy. It has to do with their ideas, their theories, the things that they have done in the way they've perverted their religion into a hatred of us. And what's at stake are the things that are best about us: our freedom of religion, our freedom for women, our right to vote, our free economic system. Our foreign policy is irrelevant, totally irrelevant. If you read what they write, if you bother to listen to what they say, this comes out of their own perverted thinking.
Charlie,
go ahead.
Yeah. Let me try to explain so you can understand this better. Try to visualize how we would react if they did that to us. If a country, say China, came that great distance across the ocean, and they say, we want you to live like us. We want you to have our economic system. We want bases on your land. We want to protect our oil. Even if we do that with good intentions, even if the Chinese did that with good intentions, we would all be together and we'd be furious. There's always a radical element in almost all religions. They have to have an incentive. We give them that incentive. The question that you aren't willing to ask is, why is it that they attack America? I mean, they don't attack the Canadians. They don't attack the Swiss. If it were merely because they want to go into Europe,
is it
why
such
do
a
they
puzzle? Is it such a mystery as to why they attack America?
It is.
They're not going after Luxembourg.
It is because we've gone. It is because we've gone 6 miles.
We're the strongest nation in the world.
Ron, we have.
Ron, it's simply not true. Islamic terrorists killed over 500 Americans before September 11, 2001, going back to the late 1960s. They have also killed people recently in Bali, in London. They have launched attacks in Germany. Where did the attack on the Munich Olympics take place? In the United States, or did it take place in Germany?
Let me stop
I
this.
could go on and on. The attack on Leon Klinghoffer. Islamic terrorists have attacked us.
You paint all Islamics the same way.
No, of course not. No, they absolutely do not.
What you're doing is damaging our relationship by destroying our relationship with all Muslims. That's what you're doing.
Charlie, you started it.
I did start it. Yes, I did.